Well, hi guys, welcome back to the Kneady Homesteader channel, and today I am answering a question that I was left in my comment section on if I could only choose 2 canning books, which 2 would I choose? That's a really hard question, but I'm going to show you when I get home which 2 I would recommend and why. But first I thought I would show you, I'll spin you around here. So this is where I get my chicken feed and my chicken scratch, also my bird seed. They make me a special grind for my chicken feed where we add a little extra protein in for my girls so that they don't so they get extra protein. We're in Danny's truck and we are picking up beans. So you know, one of my favorite things to can are dried beans, and this is where I get my beans. They have like a sale once a year around this time of the year, October, and you can put in your order for as much as you want. They do sell, at least last year they did 5-pound bags that they sold like on a table inside, but this year I knew I wanted quite a bit more, so I put an order in. But this is where I get it. So it's Turner bean and grain. I'll show you one more time. It's old, it's an old grain that's right here off of the train tracks, and they sell all kinds of wonderful stuff. But anyway, we're gonna get, so here is my order. I ordered 25 pounds of pinto beans, 10 pounds of black beans, actually 10 pounds of small red beans, which I love putting in chili. I did get a 5-pound bag of navy beans, and then we did grab a bag of birdseed that you see, 40 pounds, $15. It comes in these little bags. I know many of you like these little bags from last year. So this is it. And this is what we'll be canning up this winter. Okay, before I give you my 2 recommendations, I just want to double check that this is still, this is still available here. Let's see. Can we it's a blog. Okay, 2015. You know, I don't mean to sound rude, USDA, but 2015, it is now rolling into 2025. It would be nice if they updated this, but let's click on it and you can download it. So this is still available. All right, so I'm going to spin the camera around because this is still available to be able to print out. I am going to, I will leave a link to this down below where you guys can click on this and print it out. Okay, and that is a copy of this book. I will also leave a link to this. You can buy it on Amazon. I think when I bought mine it was around $10. I will go make sure that they still have it on Amazon, and if they do, I will leave a link to this down below. What I did is, so basically I didn't print it off, I just bought it, so I had a printed copy, and then I stripped it out. I laminated the front and the back covers, and then I went ahead and spiral bound mine because I have a spiral binding machine because I'm a homeschool mom, and so I just basically turned it into my own spiraled book. You could do the same thing if you do have a spiral binder, or even one of those less expensive where it has like the spiral tabs that you can do. You could also put in a 3-ring binder and buy a 3-ring punch. and print this out. Like I said, I will leave that link to that book to be able to print out yourself. All right, so let's talk about if I had 2 books, if I could only buy 2 canning books, which 2 books would I buy? Now, this is highly recommended by a lot of people, okay? So I'm not even going to count this because this is a free download. You can print it out. And it has everything in it that you need, okay? So there's nothing in this book that, that you can't use. What I don't like about this book, well, other than it hasn't been revised in almost 10 years, but besides that, it's not, it's not an easy read. It's not easy on the eyes. I don't like the way that it's just not my favorite. It's not very easy to understand. And if you are new to canning, this is good to have on your shelf so that you have all the times and you know, the processing times and you know, the hot pack versus the raw pack or so on. But as far as like understanding how to like prep and all that, this just isn't an easy read. It's just not enjoyable. It's not easy to understand. Free, great. $10. If you want to laminate like I did, spiral bind, $10. I wouldn't spend more than $10 on this. I wouldn't. So, is it great to have on hand? Yes. If the grid goes down, if your power is out, if you're about to lose your freezers and you need to can all the meats in your freezer and you've never canned all of it before, this is great to have just as a guide to be able to just quickly find it, find the processing times, and move on. I would not use this if you were like a new canner. I would not lean on this as your only book as a new canner. I just don't find it very easy to understand or enjoyable to read. But great resource to have, okay? If I had to pick 2 books, and this is, I guess, you know, they're 2 my favorite. Hands down, my favorite canning book, hopefully it's focused, the Amish Canning Cookbook. I love this book. You know, I probably should get a backup copy. This is the book that is always sitting next to me when I can. This book is identical to this book. However, this book is written in a way that's just, it's easy to understand. It's easy to read. It's easy to understand. Everything is written for you. This thing has been through the ringer. But every single time I can, this book is out. This is the one I refer to. If somebody asks me real quick, Heather, what's the processing time of carrots? This is the one I'm grabbing. Again, everything that, it's all done the same as the USDA. It's just a much easier read, easier to understand. If you're new to canning and you've never prepped apples before, or pears, or made jelly, and you don't know the process of preparing the jam or the jelly before you've canned it, this will walk you through. It's just, it's an easy read, and I love it. I love how it's organized. It's my favorite canning book out of all the canning books I own. And I want to say this is $11 on Amazon the last time I checked. So not expensive. It's not a big investment. If you are canning and you are new, you can't go wrong with this one. The second book that I would recommend is a ball blue book. Grab the latest version. I just bought the latest version. I know I did a giveaway for my channel members on the latest version. It's out in the living room right now, but the 2 that I had with me on my shelf were these. So older copies, of course, get the latest copy of the Ball Blue book if you can. But this is kind of the same thing. It's all of the basic recipes, all of the, and I'll show you how it kind of is laid out. It's a very simple to read, easy to understand how to prepare things. Okay, so here let's go to sweet potatoes and pumpkins and all that. So it's very easy to read, very easy to understand, short and simple. This one I think is easier if you're new than this, but I'm telling you, you can't go wrong with a Ball Blue book. If you're in Canada, Bernardin. It would be the Bernardin book. I have a copy of the Bernardin book, and I love it even more than the Ball Blue book. Even though technically they're like the same, you know, Bernardin and Ball are sister companies. The Bernardin has the vegetable stock in it, which the Ball Blue book I don't think did, if my memory serves me right. But you know, they've got a lot of great recipes in here that you wouldn't necessarily, that you're not going to find in here, okay? Like mango raspberry jam, you know, pineapple jam, raspberry currant, blueberry lemon jam. I mean, there's a lot of great recipes in a Ball Blue book. If you cannot find a Ball Blue book, get any kind of Ball canning book, at least one. I am, you know, as a canner, I am a big fan of Ball. I use their jars, I use their recipes, I use their canning lids. I don't have any issues with their canning lids at all. So, you know, but I'm old. I was taught by the old school canning queens here on YouTube, where I wash my lids with hot soapy water before I use them. I soak them in hot water, and I soften that plastisol, which is the compound on the canning lid. And I don't have any problems with it not sealing. So I'm a big fan of Ball. Never had a problem with them, and they put out beautiful books. From there, if you want to add to your collection, I would suggest starting at the library. That's what I did, even for my bread books. When I started learning how to cook, my cookbooks, I would go to the library and I would check out books that I had been eyeballing, say on Amazon or at B. Dalton, and I wanted a book. I would go to the library and get it first. You've got time to go through some recipes, you know, what do you get, like, you know, 30 days or something. You can always recheck the book out. That's how I bought this book. Hold on, I'm gonna move you for a minute here. That's how I bought this book, the King Arthur. I loaned this out. Now this was an investment. Does it say this one's $25? This was an investment for me at the time. I was all new to bread, and I loaned this out at the library, and I think I loaned it out like 4 times before I couldn't loan it out again. Like I had to give it back and let somebody else loan it out before I could come back and loan it out again. And so Matt was like, I'm gonna buy you that book. Like, you use that book a lot, and I loved it. But that's what I did with this one. I loaned it out. It was an investment. I wanted it. I didn't want to waste my money. You know, $25 on a book is not cheap. So, but go to the library, pull out some books, try them. There were several books on my wish list that I wanted to buy, but when I went to the library and I actually brought them home and started using them, I didn't like the recipes. So that's a great way to test it out. And then from there, like my friend Paul buys a lot of his cookbooks and his bread books, his canning books from estate sales. So estate sales, garage sales, discount places like Ollie's. Ollie's has a phenomenal book section. I have bought so many cookbooks, bread books, canning books from Ollie's. So try those places first before, you know, you just, you know, go and like buy it off of Amazon or go to like a bookstore and buy them. See where else you can find them. My girlfriend Constance says she buys a lot of books from like the Goodwill. So hers has a phenomenal book section. So there are ways to add books to your collection without spending a whole lot of money. But I would strongly suggest going to your library, checking some books out that you've been eyeballing, test out some recipes, see if you like the layout, see if you like it, and then invest. It is really nice having books to lean on. I know, you know, a lot of people just like to get their recipes or get their information online. It's really easy just to Google real fast, you know, processing time for pumpkin at this elevation, you know, under 1,000 feet, and it'll pop right up for you. However, I'm kind of old school anyway. Like, I like handwriting. I like, you know, I'm not a techie person. But my concern has always been, what if one day the internet isn't there for us? Like, how am I going to be able to continue to bake bread or can? What if we're without power? I know I have a generator, but what if I can't get online? What if the cell towers are down? What if I can't, like, just phone a friend? What kind of books do I have in the house that can help me can everything or cook things without depending on, you know, calling someone, or, you know, my dad is always my phone a friend. Dad, how do I do this? He doesn't know about rutabagas though. I have rutabagas in my garden, by the way. If you guys know what you do with rutabagas, I gotta look into that, because I gotta pull them up. But those are the things that I've done. And then buy from discount stores, buy from book sales. Sometimes there's book sales. Your library will have book sales occasionally. And then, you know, of course, you can always ask for them for your birthday and Mother's Day and all that. I always have a wish list of books on a list there that you know, that somebody can always buy. You can never go wrong with books. But those are the two that I would suggest. These are the two that I would go with. The Amish Canning Cookbook, a ball blue book or ball canning book of some sort. And then as a free resource, if you have the means to be able to print this out, I would add the USDA. It's just a great resource to have. And, you know, if you can download it for free and print it out, you know, you can't go wrong. I would hole punch it and put it in a hardcover if need be. So anyway, I hope that helps. This was a question asked to me, and I'll see if I think I saved the photo of her question, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good question. Do you mind if I do a video? Because I can explain it a lot easier than type it. Those are the two that I would start with. You can't go wrong with those. You can can everything with those. Then when you get experience under your belt, canning your basics, making your basic jellies, your basic jams, canning your basic ingredients, if you're pressure canning, then, you know, you might want to, you know, start dabbling in more recipes. I'm an ingredient canner when it comes to pressure canning. I like to pull things off of my shelf and then create, since you got to reheat it anyway, I like to create the soup from different things that I might want to add. I might want carrots one time I'm making a soup, and I might not want it the next time. I like to be able to go on my shelf and get the ingredients, toss it all into a pot, warm it up, and then have soup that way, versus making soup and then putting it in a jar. And now remember, the one thing you have to remember about canning, pressure canning in particular, the more ingredients you add, the more complicated it becomes, and because now you're dealing with all different kinds of times. If you have corn, and green beans and carrots and mushrooms, and now you're going to throw in tomato sauce, and now you're going to throw in chicken or beef and beans, or like kidney beans or something. Now you're processing something for meat time, but you've got green beans and mushrooms that shouldn't be canned for that long. The more things you put in that jar, the more complicated you make it, the more and the more differing your processing times are for each ingredient, the more susceptible that product is to become mush, like something that you're not even going to enjoy. The one thing I always go back to is our foremothers. When they canned, they didn't can for convenience. They didn't can so their husband could warm up soup at work. They didn't can for fast food on nights you might not want to cook. They can to preserve their harvest. So keeping it simple with ingredients, you have to warm it up anyway. So you might as well make that minestrone soup from different jars of individual ingredients versus grabbing a jar of canned minestrone soup that might not be the best quality because it's been canned and many of the ingredients are over processed and destroyed. So I don't make fast food in jars. I don't make like burrito in a jar. There's no need to. I can pull a jar of canned ground beef. I can pull a jar of pinto beans. I can then, if I have canned taco sauce or whatever it is that you want, tomatoes, tomato sauce, whatever it is, and I can create a burrito with my individual ingredients at a better quality than I can putting all the burrito in a jar. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And it also makes it it makes it easier to can. If I'm canning beans, if I'm canning carrots, if I'm canning tomato sauce, that's what I'm focused on. So I'm not making like a big pot of something and then preparing all of these vegetables and then making the big pot of soup only to put it all in a jar, only to have it over processed. I hope that makes sense. So I'm an ingredient canner, and that's how I like it. It's easier, the quality is much better, and it's a lot less work. And I'm all about that. So if you have any other questions for me, leave them down below. I can always make another video. I know somebody asked me about bread books. If I could choose one bread book, she said one bread book. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can say one bread book because I have so many bread books that I really like. But I will tell you, I am absolutely loving the new one from King Arthur. It's fantastic. I haven't made anything from it. I'm still reading through it. But it is a delicious read. So with that, I hope that is helpful. I hope I answered that okay for you. And if anybody else has any questions for me, let me know down below and I can always make a video for you. All right, I love you guys. God bless. Not sure when my next video is going to be, but I'll be back. All right, love you guys.